What's up, everyone? Shoebooty Sports coming at you Tuesday afternoon. Does this count as afternoon? I would say.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
not 5 o'clock, so
yeah. It's 4:33 p.m. as I speak, so I'm going to say afternoon. Anyway, I'm Graham Powell on this screen. That's Bradley on the other. Say what's popping, Bradley.
what's going on?
Few things here and there before we get going. We're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Shoebooty Sports, is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the one of a kind Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience, track it with your fitness app of choice, screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section while you're there for t shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series, and you can find us, Shoebooty Sports, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on X at Shoebooty Sports. So I took a gander at the ESPN app and just listened to one sports podcast I like. Pardon my take is what it was. I can never finish their episodes just because I have too much going on and I just never get around to it. But I do like their podcast for the most part and just kind of wanted to get an idea of what's going on in the sports world, other than the obvious. But the big one, NFL draft starts Thursday. It is NFL draft week. I don't get as excited about it as I used to. I don't know if it's because I'm just older or I have more stuff going on or both, or that Arkansas isn't very good at football, so they don't have a lot of players that get drafted. Although, strangely, they're going to have some players get drafted. They had some really good combine showings. Mike Washington, the running back who had 1,000 yards at Arkansas this past season, but went largely uncelebrated because Arkansas won 2 games, a whopping 2 games. Taylen Green set combine records with the stuff that he did, whatever you want to call it, in drills or what. I'm drawing a blank. How would you refer to that? He had the highest jump measurables, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to draft Taylen Green. He's too gifted to not get drafted. It's everything between the ears with him. Any Arkansas fan will tell you that. Not saying he's dumb, but he is consistently inconsistent at reading defenses and throws it to the other team more than he should, especially at the professional level. Did it too much at the collegiate level, but definitely at the professional level. But if somebody's going to look at that and say, I can fix this. Now, if Bobby Petrino had a really hard time doing it, I, I don't know how much better you're going to get than that as far as a quarterback coach goes or an offensive coach. But somebody's going to take a shot on him. Shot on him. Draft Thursday. Who's got the first pick? Do you know?
Raiders.
That's right, Raiders. Is it the Raiders, then the Jets?
I would imagine so.
You would think that.
Yeah.
I don't even I haven't looked at I haven't heard from Mel Kiper. Is Mel Kiper even as big as he used to be? I see Todd McShay's name floating around a little bit more.
I think McShay's had a lot more accurate predictions in the last 3 seasons. So, I mean, I think people are staying tuned to what he has to say more than they are Kuiper. So, I mean, it's not saying, Mel Kiper doesn't know his stuff.
He's not some. They're typical draft analysts. They get some things right and they get some things wrong. It's largely just a guess based on you got to go by what you see in front of you combined with how your experience of how you think that's going to translate to the NFL. Some things they get right, some things they get wrong. Everyone was seemed to be pretty accurate about Johnny Manziel. Just thought he doesn't have the work ethic to put in the work in film, and just in just preparation. Manziel was a guy that just showed up on game day and then did his thing. That worked in high school and college, did not work at the professional level. You have to be a student and obviously have talent to be able to make and a strong work ethic to be able to make it at the NFL level, the highest level you can and can get to in football. Um, Thinking of some goofball takes that analysts have had over the years and the time I paid attention to the combine, names pop out to me like Blaine Gabbert. Like they'll pick a guy, and this happens every year in the draft. Analysts pick a guy, and they're like, "This is the guy. This is the number one ranked quarterback or whatever coming out of the draft." Remember Blaine Gabbert being that guy, and just thinking, why? Why is he why did they pick him? They know Cam Newton is available in this draft, right? Fortunately, Carolina had enough sense to say, yeah, we're going to go with the guy that won a national championship and Heisman Trophy and was pretty amazing this one year over the guy at Missouri who threw like 11 touchdowns to 9 picks. That's the thing. It wasn't like he had 45 touchdowns to 6 interceptions and 4,000 yards that season. Blaine Gabbert, that is. His numbers were very mediocre, even at the collegiate level. And I just was thinking, they are. You know how you can overthink something and you can outsmart yourself. I don't know if that's the way to put it, but it felt like that was what they were doing with Blaine Gabbert, and they do that with other quarterbacks too. Of course, there was the Jamarcus Russell thing. Uh, it probably has to be. I don't know if it has to be, but I would say that's the biggest bust in in history as far as the NFL draft goes. I would think.
Yeah, I think 95% of the public would agree with you on that. I mean, multiple sources say he's the biggest NFL bust ever.
Yeah, that's the most memorable to me. What was I was going to ask you this, but I think we're going to have the same answer. I would say Darren McFadden probably had the most disappointing NFL career of a guy that you thought was going to be great and just didn't. It didn't work out as far as being great at the NFL level. I mean, he had a 10-year career.
He was
Um,
good, but I mean, he was the Raiders' entire offense for the first 4 years, so he got beat up pretty bad those first 4 years. So I mean, it's tough to have a great career whenever you don't go to a great team.
yeah, that's true. Another big reason I did not want. I was really glad when Trevor Lawrence, the year he came out of the draft, that the Jaguars had the number one pick. They're not the greatest franchise, but they're not the Jets. I knew if Trevor Lawrence went to the Jets, it was over. I was like, it's going to be a very mediocre career if he ends up there. It is. It's hard to go to an incompetent organization and have a great career. Uh, Baker Mayfield with the Browns compared to how he's done with the Bucks. Example A. Which, by the way, they have an interesting situation. I guess it's always a crap show in Cleveland. But Shador and Deshaun, is Deshaun going to be ready to play at the start of the season? And if so, what do you do there if you're Cleveland?
I think he is going to be ready to play, and you've got to roll him out. You've spent all this money, all this guaranteed money for him to play football for you. Make his ass go out there and play football for you, because you already know what Shadur is going to do. He's going to be the grade B quarterback. Everybody knows he is, and he's going to turn the ball over and not make great plays. He'll win a couple of games, but you already know what you're getting with Sanders. I mean, Deshaun, you've kind of, I don't know, Deshaun, you know he can win games, but he's also going on his third season removed. So
I don't know that you can win games with Deshaun Watson anymore. I would say
I
it's
think he can win games with either of them. I,
I think it's flipped though. I think I have a different opinion. I would just reverse what you said, as in I don't think we know what we're going to get with Shador Sanders yet. He was in year one. I mean, he was a rookie. There is quite the learning curve at the NFL level. There there was a stretch there where rookie quarterbacks were coming in and having success pretty quickly, and that was so rare, and it was long enough that it kind of became the norm, or at the very least, franchises aren't near as patient as they used to be, and understandably so. There's a new crop of quarterbacks coming out every year, but I don't. I think the jury's still out on Shador Sanders, what we're going to get yet, or what we're going to get from him. I Deshaun, we know what we're going to get, but you are paying him a lot of money. If I'm Cleveland, I guess I'm putting Deshaun out there until something happens and he can't go, or until I see something in practice where I think Shador gives us a better chance to win than Deshaun.
If I
Deshaun
was
does.
Shador, yeah, if I was Shador, I'd be sending massage therapist over to Deshaun's house like every day.
But yeah, I think the jury's still out on Shador. But if I'm Cleveland, I'm still looking for a quarterback. I would hate it. I would hate to be a quarterback to go to Cleveland, but I'm still looking for a quarterback. Uh,
And they
so
drafted
is
two last year.
Yeah, they did. And what even happened to Dylan Gabriel? You don't hear about him anymore. They took him ahead of Shador.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't even know if he's with the team still. It's what it is, probably, but you don't hear anything out of it. It's an interesting. It's just I don't know. The NFL is always interesting. Who is the head coach in Vegas now? Because Pete Carroll's out. I know that.
Oh, I couldn't even tell you.
Well, tell us a random fact in sports or anything related to sports or in your life while I'm looking that
So,
up.
speaking of Taylen Green in the NFL draft, so his measurables in those drills that he set the records for, and given his height, if he were to come out and play receiver, the only other person with those measurables and those athletic abilities would be none other than Megatron. But Talon has said that he will not play wide receiver. He's
Yeah,
only going to play QB, um, which I think is going to be a big time mistake for him. He could be drafted first round easy if he would say, "Yeah, I'll be a receiver. I won't do quarterback anymore."
they're basically wanting a lot of people. Teams are wanting to do what with Taylor, what they did with Matt Jones, which was who was a great quarterback at Arkansas that was drafted as a wide receiver by Jacksonville in whatever year it was, what 2006 or
Yeah,
seven,
something like that.
something along those lines. And Matt Jones didn't do anything at the NFL. He was around that time where it was rookies first, especially first round picks, got really good contracts. So I mean, he got paid. He got a really good
He got
contract.
paid, yeah, and then he spent some of that pay on some yay and got caught in a parking lot, and that pretty much ended his primetime career because nobody really wanted to put him into the game after that publicity.
Was it? I don't know if it was that other. I think it was more so just he wasn't a very good NFL football player.
Yeah,
That would be my because if you're good enough, they'll look past that. Michael Irvin didn't have any issues playing, seeing the field. Now, so it's
but
I don't know.
yeah, they're also winning Super Bowls.
Yeah, but Michael Irvin played a big part in that. He is
Yeah,
a Hall of Fame talent and player, and yeah, it was a different situation there. Which, by the way, I saw Matt Jones the day that happened, or the afternoon before the night he got arrested. And this is all public record. We're not outing or anything with Matt Jones. This was big news 20 years ago.
yeah.
Me and my girlfriend at the time. I don't think we were engaged yet. which we were engaged for a cup of coffee. But yeah, me and the girlfriend at the time, we were at Mexico Viejo on Martin Luther King in Fayetteville, sitting there eating lunch. And in walks Matt Jones and a friend of his who was a tight end on the football team. They they walked in. I was like, "Hey, that's Matt Jones." He had I think a buzz cut then, um, which made sense. He was losing his hair. He just went ahead and joined, which not knocking it for yeah. I'm on that team too, but he said, "Yeah, I'm just going to come on over to this side where I'm destined to be." But yeah, they were sitting there. I think they went to the bar and were just hanging out at the bar, eating chips and having a couple cold ones and just watching whatever game was on TV. Just a normal day, right? I'm gonna hang out with my boys. I'm in the town I'm famous in, and just gonna have some Mexican food and hang out with the boys. And then you find out. I think I found out the next day later that turned out that was a whole day of partying. And yeah, they got busted at in the I think the Theo's parking lot off of Dixon Street with some yak that they had on them. But
Not
um,
even a secluded spot either.
no, no, because yeah, Fayetteville PD, they are known for looking for stuff or for looking for activity, which is one thing I don't miss about living in Fayetteville. I won't say Northwest Arkansas because I've only had that issue in Fayetteville. Yeah, they're looking for trouble, for trouble or people making trouble, and yeah, that was not a secluded spot to do that. But young, dumb, what have you. He didn't get he got a really good attorney and got off pretty easy as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, NFL career fizzled out, but I liked him on the radio for a while. He was on the radio in Central Arkansas for a while, and I liked him on there, which I would have never really seen, because he didn't seem like he wasn't a very vocal person, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but I did like him on the radio when he was there for a cup of coffee. But it was I don't know. It was he's doing all right. Like I said, he got a pretty good contract and he was amazing at Arkansas. So he's gonna be welcome in Fayetteville anytime he decides to roll out. I don't know what he's doing now. Wish him well. Did you ever have an interaction with Matt Jones?
No, just other than just seeing him out and about, either on campus or on Dixon, no. But I never said a word to him.
I saw him one time. Our buddy Halford. He went. This was like our first weekend or so in Fayetteville when we both were, rooming together.
Mhm.
And he sends me a picture. He was at some party. I don't remember who he was with or what have you, but he went to some party and Matt Jones was there. He was sitting there, just hanging out, having a good time, partying with everybody else. And he said Halford sent me a picture like, "Hey, that's our quarterback right over there, just sitting at the kitchen table, I think, playing a drinking game." I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." The weekend before the start of the regular season, cool.
Say he definitely had to tell you because the grainy photo you probably wouldn't have been able to tell that he would have sent you.
That's true. I
Photos were
could
not
not
the
tell.
best back then.
They were not. This was fall 2004. Yeah, fall 2004. So, and I crossed paths with Matt Jones one time. I was walking up the steps next to the student union, like going from like the parking garage up those big steps to the main part of campus, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I described it well, so I was just yeah, double checking, I guess. But he was coming down the steps as I was going up, and there was nobody around. It was just the two of us, and that's clearly Matt Jones, right? Pretty easy to spot, whatever he was, 6'6", 6'7", and
Probably dressed goofy as hell. Looked
uh,
like he hadn't showered in a couple of days.
I think he just had on just like your typical, just Razorback gear that they give you, as in sweats and just a shirt and everything. And this is when Shane, our buddy Shane, and I uh, had decided we didn't have an NFL team, and just as kind of a goof, we just said we're going to start rooting for the Browns. We're just going
I
to
remember
become,
that.
yeah, we're just going to become Browns fans. So we went like to the mall, the Northwest Arkansas Mall, and got like just some Browns, like a. I think we maybe got a. I don't know if we got a shirt, but we both had. I got a hat. I remember getting a Browns hat, and I had it on, and I had it on during that time. And as we were crossing paths, I looked at. We made like eye contact, and I did like a nod and like like a head nod kind of thing. And he just gave me the biggest like weird look. Like,
What?
who the hell is this guy? And at first, as we passed, I kind of took offense to it. I was like, what was that about? And then as I got up to the top of the steps, I pieced together what was happening. I was like, oh, I am wearing this Browns hat. He's probably like, what is dude doing wearing this Browns hat? Um, that's probably exactly what he was thinking. Like nothing was said, but he just had this look of who is this guy? And but that was my one interaction with Matt Jones, if you want to call it an interaction. Legendary quarterback at the University of Arkansas. Interesting that we got on this topic. You never know what you're going to get into, especially the week before the NFL draft. Um, by the way, Clint Kubiak is the Raiders head coach. Is going from quarterbacks. Is Fernando Mendoza going to be the number one pick? Is he?
That's who everybody's been talking about. Him going first to the Raiders. I just checked out a mock draft on Bleacher Report, and they have the number one pick. Believe this or not, I think it's just a joke, but it's not April 1st anymore. It says they have Arch Manning projected to go to the Vegas Raiders, which would leave Mendoza falling to, you guessed it, the Jets.
Arch Manning is in the. He's not coming out of the. He's not entering the NFL draft.
Dude, I don't know what's up with this mock draft. That's what it's saying.
I mean, I've kind of been under a rock and haven't been following things that closely. I mean, yeah, we're a we're a sports podcast technically, but we don't claim to be experts. We're two dudes that have a podcast, and yeah, I think we know a little bit about sports, or like to think we do anyway. But yeah, last I heard, Arch Manning was was returning to Texas as he should.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
Usually Bleacher Report's on their stuff, but
okay. Give us another random sports, life, whatever. Just give us something that you want to talk about while I'm looking this up.
oh. So, of course, I used to work at Slim Chickens, which was the original store located there in Fayetteville, and we had a lot of college athletes come through, like Stephen Hill, McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, a bunch of football players. Um, and one day there was a group of five that came in, and they all came to order, and I was a nice guy, I gave their shit to them for free. All up until Alex Tejada came up. He was the last one to order. And he looked very shocked at me whenever I looked at him in square nine and said, that'll be 876. And he goes, dude, why are you making me pay for him? I go, why don't you hit field goals? And he just took his cup, turned around, and walked off. Oh,
Uh,
yeah, man. It was the best feeling. Like,
yeah, Alex Tejada is a scholarship kicker at the University of Arkansas. For those of you wondering, he came in with the highly touted freshman class of Mitch Mustaine and Damian. Crap, what was his last
Springdale
name?
5 or whatever.
Damian Williams. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
there was the tight end who didn't want to play tight end or like play like a tight end. He's like, I'm a receiver. I'm a receiving. Ben Cleveland, that was his name.
Being Cleveland, yeah.
Um, which yeah, they were really good at Springdale. They were amazing at Springdale. I went and watched one of their games, one of their playoff games. They were against Texarkana. I was just bored one Friday night and didn't have anything to do, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to go watch this team that everybody's talking about play because it was right up the road." Um, and Tejada was a part of that, and Tejada looked good in high school, um, but yeah, he was not very good at the University of Arkansas. Now he did. I think he did end his collegiate career kicking the game-winning field goal at the Liberty Bowl, right? I think it was yeah when the Razorbacks went 8-5, and it was Mallett's first year as the starter, and they beat who? What East Carolina? I think it was. It was a cold night in December, I
Yeah,
think.
in December.
Yeah, and I remember Bobby Petrino saying, "I'm happy for Alex," which he did. He kicked the game-winning field goal, but yeah, he missed a lot of kicks at Arkansas. Uh, I heard a similar story about some. I want to say it was some Kappa Sigma guys. They had. I don't remember who I was with. I had to have been around Shane or someone, but these it wasn't Shane. It was some other people I didn't know, but they said that some Razorback players came up to a party and Alex Tejada was with them, and they turned Alex Tejada away. They said no, not here. So yeah. So you do get perks if you're a good football player at Arkansas. If you
I didn't even give him a
utilize.
student discount, man. Just full price, man.
Oh wow, that's
Or he's gonna sit there and watch your friends eat.
interesting. When I worked at the smoothie place, Juice was the name of this place. Which, by the way, when I was last in Fayetteville, that whole line. Have you been down Martin Luther King in a while?
I mean, Sixth Street, yeah, I've been down it.
Yeah. Um, I still often refer to it as Sixth Street. Yeah, it looks none of that stuff is there still.
Completely different.
Yeah, very different. But when I worked at that smoothie place, they we didn't get any like we had football players come in, but it wasn't like oh Darren McFadden walked in. It wasn't like that. But at that point, McFadden wasn't even. I think he was already in the league at that point. Was by the time I was working there, or even when the place opened. There was who was the guy, the running back that got arrested for shoplifting or something, some kind of fraud. I think I don't know. He came. I remember he came in. He was pretty chill. He was hanging out with this girl, and I remember this is back when newspapers were still going around or in circulation because they were sitting at a table, and the girl he was with, I assume girlfriend, whatever, just the girl he was seeing, she was reading an article about something Bobby Petrino had said, and he was quoted as asking what he thought about Barack Obama's March Madness picks, and Petrino said something like, in this article, he said something like, "I think he should just focus more on getting these gas prices down." Something just a normal person would say because they were high at the time. Not quite what they are now, but they were high at the time. At least I don't think they were back then. And I remember the girl goes, "What an asshole!" talking about Petrino. Was really upset about it. And the guy she was with, the running back, I don't know if he was still. He might have been done after this year. He might have been a senior at this point. He had a good year. He was a decent player, but he just had this look on his face of like, "What do you want me to say?" like, I mean that was my coach, and he just had he didn't even have a response. He was just kind of like, you know, he was just kind of letting her talk, kind of thing. She was pretty. I can only assume that's why he was with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other guy was Nathan Dick, Casey Dick's brother. He came in quite a bit. He was Casey's backup, and then I remember this is the first time I'd heard of Ryan Mallett, like kind of from like an inside scoop thing, because I he had come in and said he was transferring. Nathan Dick did, and but the owner of the smoothie place was kind of buddy buddy with him, Nathan Dick, and he was saying why, or he was explaining to us why. He said, "Yeah, he said he said Mallett came in, Petrino just handed him the job." And I remember thinking, like, well, I
Have you
hadn't
seen
even
that
seen
guy?
I hadn't even seen Ryan Mallett play yet, and I knew I was like, well, yeah, probably. And
Yeah.
then he goes out, and then you see, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's why I got the job. He's the best quarterback I've seen at Arkansas. But yeah, interesting how we got down this rabbit hole. We haven't had a story time like this before, so it's kind of interesting, unique. Um, by the way, Arch Manning not eligible for the 2026 NFL Draft. Expected to return to Texas for his junior season with plans to potentially enter the 2027 draft if he's any good this upcoming season, I would think.
Yeah. I guess this is with every, I don't know. I don't know what they're smoking over at Bleacher Report. But yeah, it's got to be Fernando Mendoza going number one overall to the Vegas Raiders.
You
I don't
would
know
think.
who the I don't know who the Jets are going to get because I mean, of course, the other quarterback everybody's been talking about is Ty Simpson, but I don't necessarily think the Jets are going to take a QB with that high pick. They'll probably trade it away or take somebody else's career and throw it in the dumpster. I don't know what they're going to do,
There's what
but
they should do, and then there's what they're going to do because they're the Jets. What they should do is take that pick and trade down and get more picks because you have a really bad team that you got a lot of holes to fill. But the Jets aren't going to do anything smart because they never do. So why would we expect anything different? I know Dan Orlovsky said he thinks Ty's. Is it Simpson?
yeah,
Okay, Ty Simpson. They I don't know why I wanted to say Samson. Uh, of course, he said that he would be a better pro quarterback than Fernando Mendoza, and then of course Pat McAfee and crew kind of took him to the woodshed on their show over that, which makes
yeah,
sense.
they did.
That I think that's another example of overthinking and outsmarting yourself. Like, those people that just like to have a different take, to have it not to have a different take, but they feel like they're more educated on it, so they
Yeah,
can say things that are a little that doesn't that kind of goes against the tide. It doesn't agree with what the masses think. That's where you get the Blaine Gabbert's better than he's a better prospect than Cam Newton. And this is another take of this guy's going to be a better prospect than Ty Simpson over Fernando Mendoza. Maybe he will be, but I don't see it. I'm taking the guy that won a national championship and went undefeated at Indiana. And like, you can just tell based on how he interacts with his teammates, his family, his the way he conducts himself in interviews. Like, this guy has franchise quarterback written all over him, and he's an absolute just gamer. Like, I'm going to go with that guy. I would rather see him with Vegas than the Jets. I don't have a lot of faith in the Raiders organization, but I do have. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Tom Brady will give it some life. I don't know. It's. I want to believe that there's hope for them
yeah,
because if anything, if I'm Tom Brady as a majority, or excuse me, a minority owner with the Raiders, I'm going to be involved in the process of vetting these players that I'm potentially going to draft. Like, I want to have a sit if I'm the majority owner of the Raiders, I want Tom Brady to go sit down with these prospects, these potential number one picks, and I want him to talk to them and see what he thinks. especially with Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza and Tom Brady, that would be an interesting conversation and
Well, they already
draft.
got Kirk there. Kirk Cousins. He's with the Raiders now. So,
Is that where he is? Okay.
yeah.
Now that's improvement. I'd feel a lot better if I were a Brock Bowers fantasy tight end owner, like I was this past year, to have Kirk Cousins thrown to him. I mean, Kirk Cousins had decent. He had some decent games at the end of last season. I think the guy can still play, and would kind of, at this point in his career, would be a pretty good bridge quarterback. For Fernando Mendoza, I would. Yeah, if I'm the Raiders, you got to get quarterback right, and this is a good opportunity to do that. Yeah, you got Kirk Cousins. Here's a good time to bridge, or he's a good bridge quarterback for the future for Fernando Mendoza. That's what I'd do if I were them. Going back to Taylen Green, did you, well, kind of, I guess, end on this. Did you know that he was one of the, I don't know if I sent you this or not, I might have. He was one of the quarterbacks that went through the Gruden quarterback camp thing.
Yep.
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched some clips here and there. I mean, where he compared him to Megatron and he asked him numerous times if he would ever consider playing wide receiver, and he just sat there and said no every time.
Yeah. I
Even
can
after Green
understand.
pretty much told him that he was too slow with the ball.
Well, I watched the first 30 minutes of it because I had to go to sleep. But I did want to see some of that. And Gruden was on, he was very honest with them in his analysis, which I was hoping for. I was hoping to
Yeah.
see that. I would love to see Taylen Green do well in the NFL, but he's been consistently inconsistent throughout his college years at quarterback as far as um, just reading defenses. And if you draft him, you're gonna have your work cut out for you on getting him
Yeah.
to figure that out.
And reading defenses, holding on to the ball, just normal stuff.
Yeah, but he is going to get drafted. Where do you think or what round do you think he goes in? He's not going to be a first round pick.
Uh, Fifth or sixth round for a
Really?
QB. Yeah.
I think teams are going to look at that. Just look at his measurables and say this could be a diamond in the rough situation.
But
And
if he's not going to play receiver, though,
yeah, I can understand why he wouldn't want to. If you think you can play quarterback, give it a shot. But he may be forced to either make a position change or just you're going to be out of the league at a certain point. He may go as high as the third round. It's possible. I'd say probably four. But then again, I don't know if Shador went all the way in the fifth, right? Uh, but I don't know. There's not near as much negative publicity around Taylen. If anything, there's momentum. So I mean, he could go as high as the third round. But we'll see. But anyway, the draft's Thursday. We'll see what happens. We're out of time. We didn't even get to talk about the Boston Marathon, but congrats to everybody that did the Boston Marathon. I know 6 people I think that did it, but I don't know. We'll see what's going on between now and next week. But until then, I'm Graham Powell.
Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.
And